What's up, you guys? Friendly Neighborhood Geek here, doing another retro handheld game review. This time on, in my opinion, an underrated gem, Dragon Ball GT Transformation for the Game Boy Advance. This came out in 2005, so I'm assuming it came out around the time that GT was still popular and airing new episodes. This was developed by Webfoot Games. I don't think they're still around anymore. Could be wrong, but they were well known for developing a lot of handheld Dragon Ball games. Good and bad. Some good, some uh, bad. This one was considered bad. This was not well received when it came out back in the day, which is so disheartening. So this is a Dragon Ball beat 'em up. Now, beat 'em ups are my favorite subgenre of video games. So you take one of my favorite animes, Dragon Ball, and you mix it with the beat 'em up genre. I mean, these are martial art characters know martial arts. So you think that would work? That those two mediums would go together. We did get a Dragon Ball style beat 'em up game on the, I think, PlayStation 2 and maybe GameCube called Dragon Ball Sagas. Uh, that game I have not played, but again, it's not considered a good Dragon Ball game, Dragon Ball Z game, whatever you want, however you want to say it. Um, it's kind of like a so bad it's good kind of game. Like you could, if you were to play it with a friend, you could enjoy it. I may check it out one day. I might end up liking it. I don't know. But it's not well received. Dragon Ball Sagas is not well received, unfortunately. That was like their attempt at a 3D brawler beat 'em up type of game. Real quick, because I only have 10 minutes. I personally like GT. I saw a little bit of it growing up. I saw a little bit of it on Nicktoons. I never saw it from beginning to end. But playing the story mode of GT through on Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3, I kind of got like a Cliff Note version of the story, and I know the pretty much the whole story of GT. Um, GT wasn't really well received back in the day. I don't think Akira Toriyama had too much involvement with that. That was the studio Toei, who wanted to put that together. Uh, Honestly, I think if they had written GT to be an alternate universe, not a continuation of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, like what they've done with Super, I honestly think it would have been, received well. Like, oh, this is an alternate universe where the storyline was altered and all that good stuff. And I think fans would have been more accepting of it, which is still an option. I mean, they could easily just rewrite GT as being its own universe, like what we have with comic books. I think if they had did that, the series would have been well received better. I think Super Saiyan 4 is like the best transformation out of all of Dragon Ball. And the lore behind it is really interesting. Once they got to Super Saiyan God, I was like, okay, it's kind of that's pretty cool. And then they got Super Saiyan Blue and Ultra Instinct and all that. I just kind of like, okay, they fell off the deep end with the whole transformations. I if only they made Super Saiyan 4 canon. Um, but yeah, so the game. The game follows the first two arcs of GT, I believe. I'm gonna assume you're familiar with GT. If you're not, just read up on it on the fandom or go watch the show. Um, but Emperor Pilaf tries to steal the Dragon Balls, tries to make his wish, I guess, to take over the world or something. He accidentally ends up turning Goku into a child. He ended up using the Black Star Dragon Balls, which in this universe, instead of the Dragon Balls spreading all throughout the world, the Black Star Dragon Balls spread all through other planets. Um, so Goku, Pan, and Trunks have to go to all these different planets to recollect the Black Star Dragon Balls. They only have a year to do it because for whatever reason, the Earth is going to blow up. I can't remember the reason why. Um, if they don't retrieve all the Dragon Balls in time. So of course, the first couple of first season, first two seasons, whatever, they're traveling to all these different planets and getting all types of hijinks and shenanigans. So the game mostly focused on the three of them going to these different planets, retrieving the Dragon Balls, encountering different, all different types of enemies. The combat system is solid. It just feels like a very kind of your traditional arcade beat 'em up. Um, Pan, Trunks, and Goku all play differently, all have their own cool abilities. They can all do like their signature attacks. Like Pan and Goku can do a Kamehameha. Trunks can do his his burning attack, which is really cool. Um, and there is a lot of bonus material. Like once you beat the game the first time, throughout the levels you collect Zenny, which in Dragon Ball universe is currency for money, and you can unlock new characters on your second playthrough. You can unlock like concept art, sound tests. Um, you can unlock different game modes. Like there's a mode where you can take out enemies in one hit if if you want to do that. You know, harder difficulty. Unfortunately, this game, which is a shame, this game does not have save points or checkpoints. So, say if you are on the final boss or you're at the boss of that particular level and you get K-worded and all your other characters have been taken out, you get a game over and you have to start that level over. Now, as a kid, I could see that being pretty, frustrating. As an adult replaying this, I could definitely see that also being really frustrating. But luckily, I played this on my phone through emulator. So if you have save states, you could just save your, do a save state, save your progress. If you die later on, just restart from where you left off and go from there. So the game does kind of make you be a little strategize a little bit. But one cool mechanic it does have, so if you're playing as Goku, Pan and Trunks, you press the select button to switch between the three of them throughout the level. When they're not being used, their health will regenerate naturally. You can find like health upgrades, like you can find food that will replenish your health, energy, items that will replenish your energy, stuff like that. That's really cool. Like they'll health will regenerate when they're not being used. Bosses in this game are cool. One thing I will say, the graphics, the sprites and the graphics for this game, and the set pieces on the stages are really well. Those are really well put together, well animated, and well made. Those are really well put together. The soundtrack is okay. The soundtrack is kind of rock heavy. It's okay. It's cool. It's solid background music for what it is. It's just crazy that this technically, if you don't count Dragon Ball, I don't know if it was called Dragon Ball GT Final Bout or Dragon Ball Z Final Bout. If you don't count that game, because that game included characters from Dragon Ball Z. So if you don't count that game, this is like the only game that is focused on GT and only Dragon Ball GT. It's not, it's not like the Budokai games where we'll have like some of the movies, the Saiyan, Cell, and Buu saga, maybe what if scenarios, and then throw in the GT saga. It's not like that. It solely focuses on the first two or the first arc of Dragon Ball GT, which I think is really cool. This is the only game that focuses solely on Dragon Ball GT, and it wasn't received well. And that really sucks because this game, kind of spoiler, they kind of teased the post-credit scene at the end, so they intended on making a part 2, which I think could have, it could have made some of the cons about this game, they could have improved on that in the sequel. So it's a huge shame we didn't get that. We could have saw, of course, Super 17 and the Shadow Dragons. So really, really bummed that did not happen. So it kind of makes this game feel incomplete, but I enjoy it for what it is. It's a very fun. I think it's like 2 hours. You could probably beat it in like 2 days, maybe. Yeah, like I said, it's a really fun game. Like the variety of characters you can choose from. Like I said, set pieces, the gameplay, it's all cool. Just you do have to be a little strategic. It may get a little repetitive, honestly, but if you're used to those classic arcade games, arcade beat 'em up type games, then you can look past the repetitiveness. I was able to. Yeah, there's a few other GBA beat 'em ups I might talk about. One of them, I'll tease this right now. One of them is a certain teenage ghostly hero. So if you could put that together, who that might be, they got a solid GBA beat 'em up game. So I'll definitely talk about that. I'll definitely talk about that game in the future. But yeah, that's kind of it. I recommend it. Give it a check it out if you're interested, and stay tuned for more. Peace. What's up, you guys? Friendly Neighborhood Geek here, doing another video game review, handheld Game Boy GBA video game review. This time on Danny Phantom, the Ultimate Enemy. This was published by THQ. Not sure if they developed it. Not sure. I can't remember if they had a different studio develop it. This came out in 2005. For those who don't know, Danny Phantom was a popular action, I guess, I don't know if say action comedy, but action cartoon that was back in the early mid 2000s. I think it had like 3 or 4 seasons. It was one of my childhood shows. I think I saw most of it. I haven't seen. I think I've seen a few episodes, a few reruns, but I haven't gone back and sat and watched it from beginning to end. It was a really big show created by Butch Hartman, creator of Fairly Odd Parents and a handful of other Nickelodeon shows, cartoons. Like I said, I believe it had 3 or 4 seasons. I know fans kind of wish we got more. For years, it has a huge fan base. And I think about last year, I believe, we got a comic. We got a Danny Phantom comic that was a continuation of, I guess, the last season. I haven't read it yet. That's amazing. That is awesome. That is awesome. Hopefully, we might be able to get some type of reboot or something, or continuation. That would be really cool. But who knows? Who knows? It's been almost a decade now. I know there are, if you're interested, there are some collectibles. There are like action figures and stuff like that if you're interested. But I don't know. I guess I would kind of say Danny is low-key kind of like Nickelodeon's Ben 10 to a degree. So, and another thing, so I can finally get to the game, I like about the series, in the opening, the intro of the show, you pretty much get his entire origin, which I like. Like with Powerpuff Girls, like with Samurai Jack, the intro pretty much tells you what the story and what the basis of the show is, and I think that's an amazing storytelling for a show to do that. So we basically get his origin in the intro. Danny, the short version, Danny has ghost powers. He has a catchphrase, "I'm going ghost." like this circle of light will come around him, and it'll it's hard to explain, but he has a cool transformation is what I'm trying to say. He has a cool transformation. He gets the black suit with the D logo and white gloves. He looks really cool. Green eyes, white hair. It looks really cool. So he has ghost powers, and that's pretty much what the show follows. Him and his 2 friends, Sam and Tucker, battling ghostly supervillains and other crazy supernatural anomalies. And it was a really, really good show. Well written, great voice cast, all that good stuff. So this game is based off a series, a TV special. I don't think it was a TV movie. I honestly don't remember what season this appeared in, but the Ultimate Enemy was like a 2-parter or something, where it's kind of a spoiler. I won't spoil it if you haven't seen it, but Danny has to fight a version of a supervillain who kind of favors him and kind of has powers similar to him. So you might be able to kind of put it together from what I've just said. And so this game takes the basis of that story and kind of turns into a beat 'em up, which is awesome. Again, I love beat 'em up. So a 2D Danny Phantom beat 'em up is insane. I believe, I'm not sure if they were planning on doing a console version, which would have been amazing. I could be wrong. That may have got canceled. I'm not entirely sure. You might have to Google the information yourself. But like I said, beat 'em up, kind of a traditional 2D beat 'em up. Danny does get some different abilities. He can, shoot energy blasts. He can phase through walls. He has the ability to turn back into his normal form, which is really cool. I don't know if you can fight in your normal form though, but his normal form, basically, his health and maybe his energy bar will replenish when you turn. So there's a purpose, there's a mechanic for why he can turn back into his normal form, which is really cool. But of course, you could fly, you could hover. There are some flying elements where you have to shoot enemies, shoot ghosts and stuff like that, which is really cool. It has a decent variety of bosses. taken from the show, and of course the Ultimate Enemy TV special or whatever. Um, there are some cheats which are cool. The opening of the game. Well, I won't spoil the opening level, but it's really cool how they did it. It's really cool. All I will say is you don't play as our Danny. I'm leaving little hints. You don't play as our Danny in the opening of the game. You play as that bad guy right there. Um, yeah. So like I said, you in the show they kind of had ghost gadgets. Maybe like a weapon that you could use. You see, he has like those like metal ghost boxing type of glove looking weapon. I think you could use that. I think there were some other ones like you use like a spear or something. Um, he had it was really funny in the show. They had a thermos for anyone who knows what a thermos is, and the thermos could basically suck in whatever ghost, and they could trap it in there and re-release it back into the ghost realm, which was really cool. So in the game, when enemies drop like ghost goo, basically, which can give Danny different abilities, you use the thermos to suck in the goo, and you could it will replenish his health or replenish his energy bar. So again, Danny has a solid variety of weapons and abilities at his disposal. The move set is decent. Um, and like I said, the bosses are cool. I don't remember much of the soundtrack, but I would assume it was decent background music. Honestly, my only gripe with this is it's only an hour, so you could beat it in like a day, 2 days, depending how much of it you choose to play, and that really sucks. You can only beat it in an hour. There is like a challenge mode, so you can kind of go back and play the whole game, but with different challenges. So maybe play a level where you can't use your energy attacks or something like that. And then, like I said, I mentioned the cheats. So so there is replay value, but again, I just really wish it was longer. I just wanted more of this game, more of the experience, more of the story. I mean, it is a kid's game at the end of the day, but as a person, as a 20-something-year-old gamer who likes beat 'em ups and can go back and play these old classic type of games, it had, like I said, it has its charm. And if you're a Danny Phantom fan and you were a fan of this storyline, absolutely, go check it out. You could play it on your phone through emulator. That's how I played it. Unfortunately, I did not grow up playing this game. There was a sequel for the DS, and I'm not sure if there was a sequel for the Game Boy based off another TV episode or TV special where some type of plant-like monster ghost character takes over the town, like a poison ivy type of antagonist or something, takes over the town, and Danny has to go to the ghost realm, and he finds a race of uh, these race of I'm not sure what type of species they were supposed to be. They say they were like abominable snowman type of people, who had ice powers, and they taught him how to use ice abilities, which was really dope, really cool. Um, so yeah, like I said, I just wish it was longer, but it is a fun, charming game. Again, if you're a fan of Danny Phantom, it's worth your time. I don't know if I'll talk about the sequel. I've seen gameplay for it, and I just didn't really like the style of gameplay. So, But once again, like, comment, share. Stay tuned for more. And definitely check out Danny Phantom, the Ultimate Enemy on the GBA. Peace, you guys. What's up, you guys? Friendly Neighborhood Geek here, doing another movie review, Netflix movie review. So if you saw my See You Yesterday video, then this I mentioned doing talking about another Netflix animated movie. This is what I was referring to. Ultraman Rising, which came out June 12th of this year, directed by Shannon Trindle, not sure how to say their last name. Cool. So I'm not sure if Shannon is a unisex name or not, so I'm not sure if the director is male or female, but still dope. They did a good job directing this movie. Yes, so Ultraman. The short version, he's an iconic Japanese superhero. Um, I'm not sure if he's owned by the same people who own Godzilla, being Toho. I don't think so. I think he's owned by Bond. I could be wrong. Bondi. I don't remember what company specifically owns Ultraman, but A very iconic character from the 60s. I'm kind of a casual Ultraman fan. I've watched retrospectives on the different series, the original and some of the sequel series I would like to go out of my way to watch. There's a few games I wouldn't mind checking out. Um, I always liked the idea, the whole concept and origin of the character and his look and everything. There's been different Ultramen and a few Ultra women throughout the history of the character, have all just been really cool and always have cool designs, and the monsters and the kaijus always look really cool. So it's always been a series that I've liked. I just never really had a lot of exposure to it. Haven't really taken the time to really dive deep into it. Um, but yeah, this movie kicked a lot of butt. I was surprised. It was very cute, well animated. The action, the story, I'll tell you that right off the bat. Everything about this movie was solid. I think it's a solid introduction if you want to introduce children to Ultraman. To my knowledge, this may be the first animated take on the Ultraman mythos, Ultraman character. I know there was an animated, I believe there was an animated like OVA type of thing that came out maybe like the 90s, I think, late 90s or something. I think Hanna-Barbera may have animated the OVA. I could be wrong, but I didn't bother to look into that aspect before making the video. But you might be able to find that on YouTube. So to say that, I mean, this is huge. I mean, we haven't really got a lot of animated Ultraman content, and to get a solid Netflix Ultraman animated movie is, really, really cool. So what's the story about? Well, we have our main character, whose name escapes me at the moment. I think his name was Ken, like Ken Sato. I think that was his name, or something like that. So Ken is an athlete. He's a baseball player. He's an athlete. He returns back to Tokyo or Japan to take up the mantle of Ultraman. We find out that his father, who at this point is retired and old and a little crippled, he was the previous Ultraman before Ken. And at one point he got injured and had to kind of retire early, and Ken had to take up the mantle of Ultraman. So, of course, like with most movies, our protagonist, he kind of starts out a little arrogant, full of himself, kind of a show-off. And throughout the movie, he kind of changes and grows as a person and as a hero. Um, so I do like that. We do see his growth throughout the movie. How the type of person he was in the beginning, he's not really that person anymore towards the end, which I like. I like when we see our characters, you know, go through growth and go through, their character arc and all that good stuff. So while battling a kind of a sea dragon type of kaiju, there's this government task force agency who want to eradicate all kaiju, and they do see Ultraman as an ally, of course, but if he gets in the way, they have no issue with harming him in the process. So while Ultraman or Ken is fighting the specific kaiju, uh, he stumbles across an object that the kaiju was carrying. Well, actually, the task force was chasing after this kaiju who was holding this object. Um, when Ken, when he thinks that the kaiju was K-worded in battle, spoiler, it wasn't, and he ends up taking the object with him, which we find out is an egg. The egg hatches to be this cute female kaiju you see behind me. I think her name is called Emmy. So it's kind of funny, like Ken and his computer AI, and later on his dad comes to, he finally puts his differences aside with his dad. I won't get into spoilers, but there is, him and his dad are kind of distant from each other because of reasons. Some things due to the fact that his dad was Ultraman and couldn't always be there to see him grow up, and the fact that something happened to Ken's mom and his dad's wife. Something happened to her, which I won't spoil. So that kind of, her absence kind of made them kind of grow apart from each other, and Ken kind of having a dislike for his father, which is, sad. But again, they both kind of have their character arcs, and they do grow closer and reobtain their relationship towards the end of the movie. But like I said, Ken and his supercomputer basically have to take care and raise this kaiju for however many weeks that she was in his care. If you could imagine, Ken is a young person in his like maybe mid late 20s, early 30s. He's not, he has no idea how to take care of a child, how to be a parent. So it's all kind of new to him, and it's kind of funny just seeing him fumble the ball with taking care of Emmy, and eventually the two of them do develop a close bond together, and he gets better at how to take care of her and all that cute cool stuff. So again, it's very cute movie. Um, when there isn't any action, the movie keeps you invested with the story and the characters and the narrative. When there is action, it gives you the action. Like the action is dope. We do get an epic final battle. I won't spoil, but we get 4 against 1 at the end of the movie, um, which is really dope. I won't spoil, who ends up aiding Ken or Ultraman against the final antagonist of the movie, but when we get it, super satisfying, super cool. And that's really it, honestly. I mean, the voice cast did a great job. The storyline was cute, the animation was solid. Like I said, definitely a movie you would introduce to children if you wanted to get them into Ultraman. The fact that this, to my knowledge, is like the first big project animated adaptation of Ultraman, that's huge. That's such a big deal for the brand and the character. There are collectibles. There are a few figures that are geared towards children. For those who are familiar with adult collectibles, they're people who make the super expensive Dragon Ball toys, SH Figure Arts. They put out an Ultraman figure based off this version, which is awesome. I'd love to get that. I love how the toy in this version of the character, he has a very animated and skinny look, and I think that's very fitting. Since he's an athlete, he's very fit and in shape and skinny, and that just kind of is really cool to kind of see an athlete be Ultraman. So what he knows as an athlete, as a baseball player, he can kind of utilize those skills in fighting monsters, which is pretty cool. And the toy is able to mimic that really nicely. But like I said, that's kind of it. I mean, it ends conclusively. It does kind of end with a potential sequel, which I hope we get, because I would love to see more of this incarnation of the character and more of Ken's adventures as Ultraman. So I hope we get that. But again, like, comment, share, and stay tuned for more. Peace. What's up, you guys? Friendly Neighborhood Geek here, doing a 90s action movie review. I don't know if you want to call this a low-budget action movie review, or low-budget action movie review. A low-budget action movie. But this was really good. This was, really charming. Almost said charging. Oh, this was really charming. So there's a YouTube channel I've been following for some years now called Good Bad Flicks. Maybe you've heard of them, maybe you haven't. They cover a lot of obscure, like myself, a lot of obscure movies, lesser known movies. They talked about a movie recently, a date movie from the 80s, which is like super obscure, super kind of forgettable. I might talk about that honestly, because it was a cute, for what it was a cute movie. It might surprise you a little bit, so I might talk about that one as well. This stars Maria Ford. I'm not familiar with Maria's work. I honestly never even heard of her until I saw that video. But she did a lot of movies like this. She knew martial arts in real life, so that's really cool. And Charlie Spradling. I'm not sure if Charlie was a man or a woman. I don't remember what character they played. And this movie is called Angel of Destruction. That's what we'll be talking about today. So hot, she'll knock you out cold. Okay, that's cool. I like that. This was directed by Charles Philip Moore. Cool. Not familiar with any of their other work. This is a Roger Corman production, R.I.P. If you don't know who Roger Corman is, Very well, like I think he was considered the king of B movies. He was very well known for making thousands of B movies. Some really good, some maybe not as good, not so good, but still, still watchable. I think he passed away last year. He was in his 90s, I believe. Oh, he lived a very long life. Always been a fan of his work. Um, I think I've talked about a handful of Roger Corman films on my page. So yeah. But what's this about? Surprisingly, the story's low is fairly. I didn't realize how complex the story kind of was. Um, so the movie actually doesn't start off. Maria ends up becoming our main character, but the movie doesn't start off with her. It starts off with her sister. Well, maybe that's who Charlie Spradling is playing. I could be wrong. Her sister is uh, like a detective, uh, and she also knows martial arts. So there we get a lot of badass women moments in this movie. Women kicking butt, beating up the bad guys. We're getting one-liners. The the fight scenes are good, but you can kind of tell where they just acted like they hit each other, and then you hear the sound effect. Um, and sometimes, yeah, you could tell like people were really hitting one another. But I like that. It just adds to the charm of this movie. If I didn't say it by now, this came out in 94, 93. So that's really cool. Um, so, like I said, her sister, start off the movie with her sister being hired to protect a female musician. There's some people out to get her, or replace, or do something bad to her. So a lot of things going on. So kind of just gloss over some of that stuff. Don't want to spoil the movie for you. Um, so whoever was after the musician that she was uh, hired to protect ends up K-wording her, and that's when Maria's character comes in to finish her sister's mission, so to speak, and to avenge her sister, get revenge for the people or the person who killed her sister, which is really cool. So we get a revenge story mixed with the other story elements and the action, action actiony genre, however you want to say it. Excuse me, which is really cool. I wasn't expecting to really get a revenge angle in this movie. But the reason for why Maria was brought in was because the actress playing her sister, they wanted her to do a topless fight scene where all she had on was maybe like some panties or something, nothing up here, and fighting and kicking butt, because sex sells. And she didn't want to do that, which I don't blame her. I don't blame her for not wanting to do that. But Maria, on the other hand, had no issue doing that. Off topic, Linnea Quigley, who's an '80s scream queen. One of the reasons why I love her so much. She, was very. She took pride in that. She was very bold when it came to that. She didn't mind showing skin, showing certain parts. Like that's something she kind of took pride in doing. And I think that was really cool of her to, you know, be willing to do that, to be willing to do that, and kind of known for that. I mean, she's a talent. Linnea is a talent, very talented actress, but to kind of be known for, she did a lot of that, a lot of those type of movies. Still really cool. Um, yeah, so like I said, Maria had no issue doing that. So we do get that topless fight scene, which is really cool, entertaining. I don't remember if you really see. I guess it's kind of a blur. I don't remember if you see a whole lot of up there, but it's still cool. Still cool. And like I said, we get a solid resolution. Does she achieve her goal? Yes. But like I said, it's fine. It's fine. Now I did kind of notice like sometimes when they would cut between scenes, like that wasn't really done the best. Again, low budget. Like okay, we might see one scene, like for example, Maria and her love interest, who's helping her on that case, on her mission. Uh, we see that they you know sleep together. But of course, instead of showing anything, we just kind of see them like maybe like kiss or hold hands or something. And then the next scene, we see them in bed the next morning. Like I don't know. It's hard to explain. You have to watch it for yourself and see if you can kind of notice like the editing, like when the clips or what editing the certain sequences didn't really mesh well together. It's like one scene and then boom, next scene. Um, like for another example, like the credits, when the credits roll, it just like soon as they save the day and we see like as soon as they defeat the bad guy and try to leave or whatever, try to, and the day is saved, it just completely cuts to credits. Like we don't really get any type of follow up or anything like that. There didn't even have music playing during the credits. It felt low key, kind of unfinished in that way. Um, like I said, those are just like little minor things I noticed. The general story and the acting and all that stuff, it's solid. Fight scenes, solid. Acting, solid. Yeah, it's good for what it is. I really enjoyed it. It's on YouTube for free. Definitely give it a watch if you're interested. If you like these type of movies, I recommend it. It's so nice to watch something old. I love watching 80s, 90s, low budget type of stuff. That's my bread and butter. Um, Off topic, I have a um, so one of my older videos, Galaxy High, has gotten a lot of attention lately. A lot. Like I've gotten like over 3,000, over 1,000 views on that video. That was one of my early videos, so the quality isn't the best, honestly. But I probably won't touch. I won't do a re-review on Galaxy High because of the amount of views and likes that video has gotten. Um, but there is another show that was out around the same time as Galaxy High that only got one season. Galaxy High got one season, unfortunately. It didn't get a conclusion. And that show was called Gravedale High, which actually someone in the comments of that video, shared that with me. Like, have you ever heard of the show? Um, I've been watching it. I've been binging it. When I get finished with it, I will give a proper review on it. And that's been a lot of fun. It's nice to go back and watch one season content. One season content it's just nice to go back and watch something old. I love old content, so it's I don't know. It's like it's nice to go back when I was first starting on my page talking about these type of this type of content. So like I said, stay tuned for Gravedale High.